How Supply Chain Management Problems Killed Target Canada by Henry Enix. Introduction. Target's expansion into Canada was highly anticipated but failed miserably. Target did a lot of things wrong, including management, technology, organization, and much more. The company spent $7 billion on expanding into Canada and was not projected to show a profit until 2021 at the earliest. After only a couple years of failure, all of Target Canada's 133 stores were closed and 17,600 employees lost their jobs. Target's expansion into Canada was highly anticipated by consumers and feared by rivals, but it failed miserably. Target's business was geared to operating domestically in the United States, but none of its systems were adaptable to doing business in a foreign country. Management. Target's management had to decide whether to customize these domestic systems so they could work abroad or move to completely new systems for Canada, because it would require considerable time and effort to initialize these systems. Target's management opted for a new ready-made software package solution, thinking that it could be implemented faster even if the company had little experience actually using the new system. However, managers sorely underestimated the amount of time it would take to implement the new system. Organization. Target quickly moved to build 3 new gigantic distribution centers in Canada. Target Canada was unable to keep track of its products or make sure that the right amounts of products were being ordered, stored, and shipped. At first, too few products were arriving at the distribution centers, leaving store shelves bare and Canadian customers empty-handed. Later, the distribution centers became overwhelmed with too much product. Target Canada also had higher product prices and less product selection than U.S. Target stores. Technology. Target supply chain management and pricing software would have to be modified to handle multiple measurement systems and currencies. Target's information systems could not properly compute shelving locations. The retail store checkout system was unreliable and didn't process transactions properly. If the technology had worked as smoothly as Target had hoped, then perhaps it could have lasted longer than it did. However, the management and organizational behavior of Target Canada was still insufficient for the stores to be self-sustaining in the long run. The supply management technology and POS technology were not the main reasons why Target Canada went bankrupt. They were certainly heavily contributing to its demise, but ultimately the rush to convert systems and lack of proper inventory and supply management are what ran the organization into the ground. Management was ultimately responsible for Target Canada's problems. The technology certainly played a key role. However, key business management practices were ignored that would have ended the expansion regardless of technological issues. The new staff was inexperienced, the whole project was rushed, data had to be converted, and products and inventory were not being correctly managed from the start. It was a messy situation. The supply chain was largely neglected from the onset of the project. First, they should have taken their time with the move and planned out a more thorough and careful transition. The conversion from one currency and one measuring system to another should have been more carefully standardized across all of the technology systems. Target should have corrected the supply chain management before even attempting to open the stores. POS systems needed to be optimized at the onset of trouble. Not opting for a new ready-made software package solution, or at least properly training employees in its usage, would have helped as well. Also, using widely optimistic projections for performance of new stores is a huge mistake. Plan for the worst and hope for the best. The biggest change should have been to slow down. In conclusion, it is obvious to see why Target failed so miserably in Canada. Almost everything was wrong, from their supply chain management to the technology they were using. Everything was just off. Questions. Question 1. What was the greatest problem for Target Canada? And question 2. What could have been the greatest solution for Target Canada? Answer 1. The greatest problem for Target Canada was management. Target Canada was all in all very inexperienced. Because the project was so rushed, all the ins and outs that needed to be figured out before were never even figured out. If management could have been solid from the start, Target may have found a way out of all the mess. And answer 2. The greatest solution is also the greatest problem: management. Successful business cannot be run without a successful management team. This team is able to work out all the problems that the business is having, and when you do not start out with a successful business management, then no one will be there to fix the problems, and ultimately, management will become the greatest problem.